with instrumental intervals and build-ups.
Good morning, everyone. It's your host MX2, and this video is sponsored by the Hydra Boys. Even though we've been disbanded, even though we've cut off the main head of the Hydra, as a great man once said, another one will grow in its place. And that is just a joke about the Hydrostorm render engine that was added to Blender. We had a little fun with it, and it turned out that the thing is useless, at least to us. So, to get started, let us go ahead and drag in a reference image. This is a still from Evangelion, a show I'm watching right now. I've actually never seen it, surprisingly. Probably seen clips and references and inspirations and things based off, but I've actually never seen the show. So I'm just going through the show right now. I think I'm on like episode 9. It's getting good. But let's get started. So I have boxcutter open, and we have dots, and we have static dots. It doesn't matter if we have static dots or dynamic dots. All it means is that we have dots for the world when nothing is selected, and from here I can just begin creating my shape. And I'm holding Alt during this so that way I can push it out both ways, and I will try to move my screencast keys somewhere more appropriate so that way it's not in the way. Maybe there. At the behest of my editor, we've been relocating the screencast keys area and doing stuff with it that I never would do previously, because why break what works? In fact, I just love it being in the corner. As I think about it, I'm thinking, why is it not in the corner? So for this area, since there is circulars involved, let us give ourselves a circular, and we'll give ourselves 12 rounds on that. I mean, we could have also used boxcutter for this as well, but old habits always die hard, even the ones that we've replaced years and years ago with things able to be done in boxcutter. So I'm just looking at the image, seeing how it accommodates for the circle, and I'm probably inaccurate, for it's a drawing, and that is a curse of me in drawings, is eternal inaccuracy. But let's place it maybe there. I'm just looking at it again on a second window, and you know what? The first place was probably better. All right, and I over obsess. Sorry about that. We'll grab this. We'll just bevel this side to round it out. Let's try that again. We're beveling, and we want it to be a fairly tight bevel too, just like the reference. And I should have the reference up in some sort of window so that way you guys can see it all the time. So let's bring up the image editor, and like I said, I'm a little awkward. I'm barely waking up for today, so I'm slightly brain dead, but only for now. So Alt-X, mirror, Alt-X, mirror. I don't know why I did it twice. Sometimes it's just fun to be manual. And we're just scaling this down, just making sure it fits. You know, we don't want to be too giant with our flathead screws, or else I'll look like an idiot. So now that we have this mirrored, I'm just going to grab this face and shift click curve extract, which will give us an extraction of that plate. The majority of the stuff we'll be doing is to this plate. And to get the party started, I'm just going to duplicate this, go into edit mode, grab this, extrude that way, grab this, extrude that way. And because we've extruded that, we can hit it with a clean mesh, and clean mesh will make this sane again, because we were we weren't overlapping, but we were being very cruel. And that's one of my favorite things to do to a mesh, is be cruel, because meshes don't have fillings, or at least I hope not. There'd be a whole movement started for that to protect the sanctity of the lives of meshes if that was the case. Be like food. So for this, I will just give it 3 rounds, and let's just perform a cut. And for this, you know, I like to work without auto smooth on. I know it's weird because auto smooth is such an art, but sometimes I will work without auto smooth just for a long time, just longer than I'm supposed to, and then I'll turn it on at the end. Not anything against auto smooth or anything. I'm just saying this is how I work. with auto smooth. I received a comment not too long ago where someone was saying, why would you use non-destructive displacement for moving geometry? And I have a feeling we are going to be experimenting with that today. Also, with my reference taking up the horizontal half, I don't like that. I'd rather give it a vertical half, and not even a half, maybe a third. That way we're just looking at it and admiring it. I mean, really, I chose this one because I was looking at all this. I was like, oh, beautiful. I need to take that and assimilate it into my brain for later. In fact, I've been screen capping this show like mad. It's been quite funny. I mean, hallmark of a good show is how much is being screen capped. And this show is Screen Cap City. Alright, and so we just duplicated this piece, moved it up in order to make the pull in, and I'm kind of approximating everything, so you'll have to excuse me for my lack of accuracy or the inability to adhere to a reference image. My life is blurry references and indecipherable references. So let's change over to Ngon, and we do not want mirror anymore. We don't want well, we do want mirror. We don't want it affecting us anymore because we're about to begin getting asymmetrical. Brought to you by the Hydra Boy. Just kidding. I'll stop saying that. But it was funny. My favorite type of humor is 3D humor. I mean, I also love crass humor, but I also love 3D humor. I was just telling someone yesterday, I was like, I'm going to begin making edgier jokes in my content. I'm going to start off trying to joke about edges and verts, and then move back over to, topology itself. But that joke just didn't land with the person I was telling it to. So now I tell it to you guys to reject. Just kidding. Just making conversation here. I mean, what are we to talk about this morning? We got 3 bevels, so let us just extrude that down. And this is our shape so far. So we'll tab back in the shape and just really take a good look at it. We only have like a few seconds to really analyze what we're doing before we start committing. And by committing, I mean we'll start making decisions on top of these decisions, which will compound our decisions. So, and that was one of the things I also saw in the reference that made it look fun, is how everything is dependent upon something else. Also, let's duplicate this, but we'll apply the boolean, so that way we can move this up, because we do want the area there, and then we'll link the geometry and fix it later. Also, this screw looks a little smaller here, which means that this one is a little bit smaller there. Me and scale, a lifelong struggle. How big is it? I don't know. Ask my girlfriend, alright? But prepare for a disappointing answer. Just kidding. So what we'll do is we'll take this piece, and I am going to just first switch over to box from Ngon. We'll cut off this side, and I'm just looking at this thing like, what is this shape? Hey, what is this shape? I mean, what is this? So I guess this thing rises up into a cutout underneath it. So that is how I have to interpret it. I apologize for not knowing. I am just suddenly shocked in this video because I hadn't really analyzed the ref that good. And we need this tight. So how tight? Well, tight enough that I will go in my preferences and enable mesh machine. Oh, mesh machine, always around. But what I will do is put a loop here, and then jump back, press Y, X, and we'll do something like that. And with these guidance loops, it's just a little bit more manageable. Just something I always do with mesh machine. Probably not even needed. I'm not the best mesh machine user, and on that level, I'm probably a level 1 decal machine user, especially compared to contemporaries who have probably mastered it 10 times over by now. But that is fine. Mesh machine does what I need it to. Sometimes it does things I do not need it to. And what we want to do here is, I'm looking at just this kind of flatty trim happening. I mean, don't judge me, but I think the flatty wants me. All right, so let us let's exhibit that idea back. So I am going to, you know, you know what I think about a lot, guys. Sorry to get sidetracked. I'm perpetually sidetracked. You shouldn't watch me if you don't want someone who's sidetracked. The only black person in Harry Potter they named Kinsley Shacklebolt. That's such a weird name. Such a terrible name. You know. I was talking the other day about how I'm still a supporter of J.K. Rowling. You know, not because of her recent behaviors, but you know, just because her book it gave confidence to readers, right? Like if you hand someone the book and they read it in a day, they'll probably walk away with the impression that, hey, I got reading in me. I could be a reader, and that is something that few books rarely have. Like, you know, if I gave Lord of the Rings to someone, it's like, yo, read Lord of the Rings. This is the greatest book ever. I just feel like the chances of me getting them to read it are a lot lower. So, for some reason, Harry Potter is just more recommended in that regard. But it's not saying it's a great book or anything. I mean, I'm an adult now, so I wouldn't read it to save my life. It's like fourth grade reading material, you know. But if I had to, I would read it. And also, I would have a good time with it. It's all the, you know, modern behavior that makes it harder to enjoy. Also, she named him Kinsley Shacklebolt. You know, it's like a UK name for a black person. Is what I'm thinking, and it's just wow. I don't know how I feel about that. Kinsley Shacklebolt. So his family's the Shacklebolts. I don't know. I'm telling you, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wake up thinking about such things, but his name is Kinsley Shacklebolt. You guys, I mean, his family is obviously former slaves. All right. You know, just got to say that because why else would his. Never mind, never mind. See, and this is the part where I start making Kinsley Shacklebolt jokes, right? Like I start talking about things that the father would possibly say in the house to his kids, describing their family legacy, and then I would get canceled. Even as a, Jesus, it marked every edge. That is a sin. I'm going to have to check into that. Also, Make did that. Make marked every edge. You know what? I'll definitely have that checked into. You know, sometimes it's when I'm affected by the issues that they become the most egregious. So let us just push this out. And yeah, just think about it, guys. Kinsley Shacklebolt. I mean, what was his family up to before they were wizards, you know? Not trying to start a drama, just the name. You just can't let a name like that just go, you know. It's like, you know, I'm adding black characters to my book. Oh yeah, what's their name? They're the Shacklebolts. Well, I mean, sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. So let's Alt-E, extrude manifold, but before that, let's enable vertex snap. So I'll Alt-E, extrude manifold. Let's bring it here. Let's SZ0. Let's bring that up to here. I mean, this isn't like me telling you how to model. It's just telling you how I'm going to model this. And I'm going to do it like that. Let's put a loop here. Let's, you know, I'm thinking I'm just thinking, always think, take a drink. You know, just don't do that though. You'll become an alcoholic. And also, let's orient ourselves with the thing that we're dealing with. Maybe like so. And just think about how we're going to get a straight line going there. I mean, 99 problems, but a straight line ain't one. And we'll just symmetrize that to the other side and just grab that, extrude that all the way downtown, Control Alt mirror numpad minus, because sometimes that works, and in this case we see that it did not work. So sometimes you're able to just extrude down and just do like stuff and things, and I tried it, I did. You know, sometimes you can know. That's the thing. Like right here, I'm gonna try it again. We'll extrude it all the way down, but we'll select it and press Control Alt numpad minus. Let's try changing it to exact, and that almost worked. Let's try it again, but without that extra loop there, because that's just gonna hurt us for the insolve moment. And even though fast gives us that and exact gives us that, I mean, this is a candidate build I'm testing, so whenever I run into Boolean issues, it's like, oh, it's 5 o'clock or it's 3 o'clock. That's what it's like to me. I don't even think, oh man, I need to report this issue, because these bugs come and go. I don't say so hard, but you know, that's what she said. That, you know, some of these errors don't even matter anymore. Like F, selecting this and pressing F, I do need that. Selecting those and pressing F would have mattered, but it did not. So let us dissolve geometry that is not needed. And, you know, still just over here thinking about, you know, Kinsley Shacklebolt. I mean, you know, with a name like that, any white kid familiar with American history is going to make fun of you. All right, so we need a different last name when we go to school, Dad. You can't be calling me the Shacklebolts. All right, this doesn't roll off their tongue the way that you think it does. In fact, they sound racist when they say it. They're like, Kinsley, yeah, Shacklebolt. Oh God, why do you have to say that? Like, that's your name, you know? But I'm just having a little fun here this morning as I over model the most insignificant little area, right? I mean, even for this part, we're just having some fun. Ooh, and that is not fun. But right here, I want to delete that, right? What is crazy is that if we get rid of dissolve verts, we can. And I just love that. I just love that. I mean, there is so much for me personally to love, but I'm a man impressed by very basic things, you know, which I'm often told. And it's my problem. They're like, you know, you're impressed by stupid stuff, and that's why you get got by stupid people. I'm like, wow, if you know how to get me, why don't you get me? Show me that stupid stuff. Show me that stupid stuff so I can get excited like a toddler, all right? Because that's what I live for. I live for toddler level excitement, but with modeling, right? Like, you show me the blocks going in the hole, and man, I'm about to spill juice all over my blanket, all right? Straight up. Because I'm a simple man. Like, I'm a simple man who needs vertex sliding to just be there without me having to enable vertimergy. Vertimergy, you know, don't get me started ranting this morning, all right? Don't get me started ranting. I'm trying to wake up and actually be cool, even though I woke up fighting bugs, but I'm not against bugs, all right? I don't ever want to discourage people from being yo dog, this bug though, because bugs matter. In fact, if you report a bug to me so good that it's resolved, hey, you just did me a favor, all right? A very good favor. You know, one of the sayings I have is, if it strengthens the product, it strengthens the product. And that's all I care about, is the product being strong. In fact, you'll see that anytime a product is weak, I will begin spazzing, because it's never my goal to make a product weak. It's only to be strong. And strong is just reliable, strong is robust, strong is being able to evolve and grow with you, but also being reliable. So let's look at our overdone work from the top, and yeah, it's completely overdone. So let's move on. You know, we're just wasting time here. And really what we want to do is cut out this particular shape and then get to work with what we see underneath it. So I was dreading it, but now let's make it happen. And that edge is not straight enough to be grabbed by the 45-degree scanner. Not a big deal. And that edge also isn't able to, so we need to redraw it differently. Like the first edge will determine the orientation going forward. I know, you're probably watching this thinking, man, this guy fucking up. And, you know, I feel the same way. I mean, I'll probably be watching this in post thinking, wow, he's about to make a mistake. But let us see if we can make it work. You know, you look at a part, you're like, huh, that's simple. We can do that. And then you actually look at the part and you're like, oh, wow, this is a doozy, alright? And imagine, this is my first part to acquaint myself with this universe, so these feel a little skewed. So what I'm going to do is delete everything that is not this main face, and then delete it, because what else is there? Referring to the song by Royksop, what else is there? Not really what else is there. There's a lot here. And we're just looking at the ref. We're looking at, I'm looking at the ref, I'm looking at the image, and I'm seeing that, this part could also use an extension. And I love being able to extend by holding Alt to basically bring things out past where they're supposed to go. But to make that happen, we also have to flatten it to this piece. So the easiest way to do that is probably just with another cut. Just really simplify it. And we want to probably trim in a little bit. I mean, I'm probably misreading the ref. It just feels like it comes up into it. Let's try that again. Let's ever scroll to bring back the cutter. Love ever scroll. Mark of loving something is never needing it remade. That's how I feel about ever scroll. The idea at its core. I mean, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done with it. Don't get me wrong there, but my goal is to get things to a stable checkpoint. And I'm still sliding things to make it absolutely precise, and that's just icky. Let's get out of 3D cursor, press SY0, and we're just looking at it, just really taking it in. The box part doesn't feel boxed enough. In fact, I'm just looking at how far it terminates into this area, and of course aligning such things can be a little tricky, but doing things manually gives me kind of a thing to think about, because I'm always looking at the problem I'm going through, but I'm also thinking about how it can be solved on multiple levels. So problems today, maybe not so much tomorrow, or bigger problems tomorrow, knowing me. Sometimes I make these problems worse. So now we want to go ahead and add the border to this. So what I'll do is, let's try it. I was going to try it one way, but let's try it this way. I'm going to use a Smart Apply clone, and we'll just grab this area, which I kind of figured would have been connected to itself. And let's delete the faces, and we'll give it a solidification to bring it out like so. And we're just kind of looking at what we got. In fact, for solidification, let us press 4, so that way it's a 1, 2, 3. All right, and 3 puts you at a offset of 1, with that's what 1, 2, 3 does. If you look at the offset, you see that I'm going from -1 to 0 to 1, and then 4 will put me in what's called non-manifold solidification, which allows me to get a more consistent result, because it's easy to get something that's a little messed up. when it comes to solidification, especially when it comes to stuff like this. Like, it's a really new thing to Blender, but it's very lovely. I love the non-manifold option. Let's see, can I rip this? Can I rip this? And I probably need to rip both, so let's try that again. So let's rip it. And it looks like ripping just isn't going to be that easy. In fact, this part is going to teach us a lesson this morning. So put on your learning hats and let's be taught. Just kidding. But really, I do see that this thing's about to teach me a lesson, saying, hey, you thought you just picked a little flat thing that some guy drew? Sorry, I should know these exact names. I'm sorry to simplify it to that if you're a super fan. I know it's super offensive to be immensely reductive. But yeah, I'm just not familiar with the artist intimately. See, I mean, and usually I try to. I mean, if it was Yoshi Shinkawa, it'd be another story. Watch it turn out to be like executive produced by Hideo Kojima. I'd be like, Nani? I'm also playing through Metal Gear Solid right now, just on the Master Collection. I just got the mine detector, you know, watched the first ARPA Chief not make it, you know. Or no, the first ARPA Chief didn't make it, and the second ARPA Chief also didn't make it. Yeah, I love that fight with Revolver Ocelot. It's such a classic. And what I want to do is rip this, take this, make it its own thing, its own problem. And just looking at this, how do I want to solve this? Let's GG, hold Alt, slide it all the way this way until they collide with each other, and then press Control Numpad plus, and now they are combined. I don't think that will work either, but we're just kind of having fun with our options here this morning. Alright, and just really looking at what we have here. I mean, this is a mess, guys. I'm just a big fan of trying to see if Union has got it together, because the moment Union has it together, I will be on the torch of Gondor letting the masses know. But it is getting more interesting as time goes on. In fact, we have a part going all the way around on the inside. So really, we should flatten off the top and not deal with the part going up until in the end. And let us clean the mesh. And we'll delete that one. And what does this one connect to? Probably nothing important, except we also jumped it out of solid mode. Let's not do that. We'll dissolve that vert so that we can eventually dissolve this edge. But this edge is giving us the business. What is it holding together? Let's add that edge, and now we see that that edge was literally holding it all together. We'll grab this one, also dissolve it, and just thinking about how we want to handle this on the fly while we're trying to handle this. So it's kind of a thing where my hands are just kind of in automatic mode, but my brain is still just hyperactively exploring solutions. So we are looking at something like that for the initial cutout, and then we want to make that work for the other area too. So there are some things with this that, you know, now that we have it, I'm concerned with. You know, to me, it's always a matter of doing things in the right order as far as operations go. So sometimes an operation order can be incorrect, and more often than not, I can really get ahead of myself. we'll slide this back because we can always slide it as far forward as we need. And we're just taking a look at this to make sure that this is a completely straight edge, just as I interpret it from here. Sometimes the only thing I can go off of, and I keep trying to remove edges, and some of these edges are literally the only thing holding some of these areas together. So now for this part, how do I want to deal with it? Well, I'm just going to grab this, move it over just slightly, just to keep everything looking right. And something like that will certainly do. And we are at least getting somewhere. You know, I was aiming to win. They're like, yo, this series of angles, you need to think about it, bub. Really think about it before you try to get in there. So even though we're kind of at a intermediate stage, I am pleased. I'm pleased I survived. Now let's go in and see what that means to survive. So I'm just going to grab these 3 corners and we'll just bevel them. And we'll make the sides fit, or we'll just get rid of that entire shape. I mean, it's really just kind of to frame us, but let us bring this down. Actually, we probably do want this to sit flush on the surface, in which case we can grab this and bring this part up. And that will certainly do. And always a use for in solve. I'll press Alt 4 in order to pop that up. And, you know, right now when it comes to install, I actually have so many ideas that I'm backed up on it. Like, I'm completely backed up. I mean, there's work to be done, so much work. And that work is what matters. You know, I have a policy that I never have fun until things are stable, 100% stable, because, you know, it's just jarring to a new customer if they come into the product and they're like, yo, you got bugs, but they also see that we're having fun, you know, because they'll come in because we're having fun. And then they'll be like, the hell? There's a bunch of bugs. And so some of the fun stuff is coming along, but, you know, if people are experiencing issues related to their very complicated add-on installations and old pref scenarios, then it's another story. We have to address those things first. So I'm just grabbing this, and probably about to be regrettable when I give it 5 rounds. And I'm just looking at it, and I'm pretty sure I'm misinterpreting what I'm looking at. That's what I'm being slow for and hesitant. In fact, for this particular boolean, we can probably disable it from even existing on the surface, because it probably looks better without it. I mean, if we look at this and look at the ref, we're probably closer to the ref without it than we are having that giant cutout there. But that cutout did help us with just kind of getting started and framing the area. I can already tell that I'm overthinking what I'm looking at here, which probably makes me look like an idiot on video, but let's have fun. Maybe something like that. And let's look at how it transitions with itself. And the transitions are actually very smooth. So I'm thinking this edge doesn't exist. It doesn't. You know, every model to me is like a vision test or a psychology test of how dumb am I? I know you shouldn't do yourself like that, but and believe me, this thing to me is easy street compared to what I'm endeavoring for. What I endeavor to do is the opposite of easy street, but we'll get there. And once I do it, it'll look like easy street because, you know, modeling is just modeling. You model until the model's done, and then you go have yourself a beer and become an alcoholic and, you know, cripple everything with debilitating alcoholism until everything in your life is destroyed. And here we are finally bringing up a nice little bug. I don't even know whose bug that is. Okay, it's my bug. Let's try it again. And that was on slide. So sliding is giving me the business. That's beautiful. All right, back to work. That was kind of weird, but we're back up in the club. Oh, also, look at this thing. This thing, this mesh got some problems. And no wonder slide threw up an error. The mesh didn't even make sense. And what I was trying to make it do wasn't going to make sense. In fact, I'm looking at this still kind of hard, and you know, I connected it with fast, and that's first of all the first mistake, because fast doesn't do connections. All right, it just doesn't. So we're gonna have to get real linear for a moment. Let's select this part, and for some reason it jumps to that part. Let's select this point, and now we're able to collapse to it based on where we select. And the more complicated explanation behind, Jesus, this is tore up from the floor up, and we made a systematic error long ago when we were trying to combine this on a fast level. You know, fast for 2D joining just isn't going to work. So how do we correct this? Well, I know how I'm going to correct this. It's Monday, and that means I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. It's Monday. Just kidding. Even if it was Tuesday, I don't have time for this. I did something stupid, and so as a result, I now have to correct it by being stupid. Not the biggest fan of this, but gotta be rapid for video. In fact, look at this. These parts aren't even merged, and this is going to make slide so weird. I mean, look, now I'm sliding. I'm able to slide without an error because the mesh isn't cursed by Satan. All right, but now previously I would actually redo the entire video from scratch over this scenario, and that would be me trying to, you know, not let myself look bad, but also to try to let Blender not look that bad. I mean, this boolean is nuts. Like, don't let me. If I was in charge of this module, I would every day yell about it. Yell. I would be typing in full capital letters, "This should not happen," and look like a freaking jerk. I'm telling you, I would look like such a jerk. I would get removed because I'm just, I'd be toxic. I'd be a toxic Boolean person because, like, I know what I need Boolean to do. I need it to be perfectamundo. And what it is right now is giving me the business. And no one ever likes that. So let us take our shape again, and we will solidify it back out on a sane level because we're sane people working sanely, and we'd lose the swoop that we had, which was so nice. So I mean, if we put this guidance edge back here, we're all good, and we can have a loop go all the way around. I mean, I don't know why the loop would actually go nuts at this particular section, but let us apply to solidify and then try adding that loop, and we see that what it's telling us is that, hey, there's something wrong with your geometry. Still, is there a double? Which one of them boys doubling? And also, Blender's loop cut is a little unusual nowadays. Like, you know, I add this loop, and then it really, what it tried to do is put a loop across, and I've never seen that before. I'm not saying Blender shouldn't do that. I'm just saying, why? So let's grab this part. Let's Alt E, extrude manifold. You know, we're still just being weird. We're just being weird, playing with angles, just thinking about how things could be modeled, how things should be modeled, and how things are modeled. So we could just blast through this, move on to the next part, just be like, ah, that's as close as we get it as an artist. It's good enough, and move on. But me, I'm a little obsessive, like terribly obsessive. I'm problematically obsessive. I'm having problems in my life due to my obsession. Like, I'm so obsessed with everything. Like, I will analyze and overanalyze things that are so insignificant. It's like, wait, you thought about that for that long? It's like, yeah. And even worse is I came up with a decision on it that will not be liked. But that's how it goes. That's how she goes. So for this area, I mean, I'm just being random here. I mean, who knows if this is a suitable solution. I'm just listening to my heart, you guys. And my heart says, stop drinking Red Bull. Just kidding, but I'm just making a joke there. Not trying to insinuate I'm going to die of a heart attack or anything. We're just having fun this morning, guys. In fact, if I did randomly die, y'all can say it was because of Stellar Smash. All right, it'll be funny, and maybe it'll inspire him to just get that topology together. But no, I'm also making jokes. In fact, I tell other people, I'm like, hey, if I ever, separate from the mortal coil, please know it was because of bugs. Just know that I had a suicide note with a picture of a bug on it, and they didn't put that to the press, and as a result, people will misunderstand my death. But just know I will die for bugs. If I get rid of every bug in exchange for just passing away, well, goodbye. It's a good deal. There'd be that many bugs in life and in the world, and just haunting me. So I'm also still making jokes here, not in any way endorsing that I should give up my life in exchange for bugs. What else do you talk about when you're doing these operations? Because the operations say their names on the screen. Also, we want to put an underscore on mirror so that way we can bypass it. There's other ways we can bypass it, but I tend to go with the fastest way. And so now we're looking at this sort of part, and I'm still thinking about that edge that wasn't able to be slid, but really the issue was not our fault. I mean, it is our fault, and I'll have to solve it, and I did send that report up to someone. I mean, a bug is a bug. I will always report it. I mean, I will always send it up the chain. So, if you think that reporting a bug to me hurts me, it doesn't hurt me as much as it does the person I reported upstairs to. They hate it. They hate hearing these reports. But the conversations are always so funny. It's like, well, how did this happen? It's like, you're assuming that this person actually cared enough to give us detailed information. And we have a quad bevel at the bottom, and we don't need that. That's what I'm thinking about as I was playing with it, is we don't need that one. We only need the big one up top. And looking at this shape, it's such a curious shape. I mean, what shape is that? F if I know. But let's find out, though. You know what shape I do see? I mean, and I'm telling you, I see hallucinations. Let's hallucinate, boys. I'll hand you the LSD. As much as I talk about drugs on videos, I probably sound like a druggie. But no, I'm just making jokes, guys. Come on, little serious. We're just having some fun here. Is there a mesh here or what? If there is, please give it to me. And I'm just looking at this, looking at this, and I'm just jumping back and forth like a dog choosing its master, out of 2 masters. You know what? We're just going to have to accept that because I don't even know what I'm looking at there. But I am going to apply all these bevels, and let's zoom out. And we see that part of it is hidden. So because part of it's hidden, I'll have to watch more of the show to see. There we go. We don't need one loop, but it does mean that we can grab this one and maybe try something like so. I mean, let's put a little bit of auto smooth on it just so we see what we have going on here. Turn off overlays, and you know, we did too much. We did too much. How do we handle this? How do we handle this? How do we handle this? Sorry, I'm asking you guys. You don't know the answer. You can't even talk, Mr. Viewer. You barely exist. At least to me, while I'm modeling right now. You do exist in the world. Don't disassociate. So maybe something like that, but I see it being fairly straight on the side is what that's what I think is breaking my brain. So let's try it again. And what if we did it like that? But we should deselect the other side and do something like so. And from here, what I want to do is put a loop down the middle. We never create a function for that. Boxcutter's like, don't worry, I got you, fam. So we will just move this part maybe here, and we see that this circle begins at the kind of here. I don't even know what to call these words. I'm just making up words in my head. I don't want to say them out loud because I'll sound like a moron, but anyone who knows knows I'll make up words for area. Like this is that angle around flatty decline quadrant B. So let's deal with that. But 32, 24. Okay, 24 is better. You know, I'm trying to be a solver now, like my boy Enso. But to do that, I got to also think about certain decisions before, because if I'm cutting 32 rounds in something and I have to solve that later, well, that is a Monday, all right? That is a Monday if I ever heard of one, and no thank you. I'm just still making jokes here. Obviously, I'll do whatever I got to do any day of the week that you tell me I got to do it. But if it's on a Monday, let me have a coffee first. Just kidding. Another Monday joke. Can't stop it. I'm so corny. And let's look at this, and it's like a breakdown notch going in there, and you know, it's not rocket science. We can also scale that as we come back to it, and this little round piece looks pretty cool. In fact, we'll need to make this thinner by the end, so good thing we're keeping it non-destructive. What I'm going to do is make a new scene altogether, and we're just going to, let's assume that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 times 4, 80. You know, let's try it. Let's try it just based on my quick brain calculations. Let's see how that would go, because we don't have to do all of them. We just have to do one of them because it's a radial object. And as a result, we will start off with line box. Line box is a beauty to me. And let's press Alt E. And we're just okay. I need to apply to scale because inset isn't going to just let me. Inset's not going to inset like that. And what's crazy is we've also been doing updates for the tools. I mean, for install to make sure that it is also scale protected when it comes to unusual scales because it is a thing. Let's try to connect everything there. Let's try using Star Connect. Star Connect's a classic under operations, and it's also there just in case you ever need to do a multi-merge just inside of hops. It's there. In fact, the plan for install was based off of hardops because I was admiring its stability, and yet we now are dealing with instability in its new form. It's just another ironic thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just I do rant about it a lot. I'm like, how did we make it unstable result? And of course, I get answers for that. I get excuses, and I need to go into Insolve. Insolve is the official edit mode operation system. I mean, just look at we want to dissolve that. We'll slide this back, and you know, we're just having a little fun here, just merging. But yeah, I'll always talk about that, about how the plan for Insolve was a stable plan. Like, I never would have said, hey, let's do an unstable plan, because it would result in email, and I hate email. I mean, I love hearing about issues and resolving them and getting people solved, but the fact that issues are experienced to begin with just goes against my mantra of what it means to do support. You know, we're supposed to be preventing and also learning from these things. So, you know, just to give more context to why you will see me more furious than usual is because I do believe in quality, and I'm in a field where quality is laughed upon. It is, because you're supposed to just acquiesce to the next big thing and just, you know, immediately give up whenever any other option is offered. And you know, that can work, but it doesn't work with a customer base. They expect loyalty, they expect service, and for that I hold the products in a very high regard, and I always will, you know, and I'll stand by that. I'll die on that hill. I will continue to be abusive over it. Perfection is required. The moment money's exchanged, the bar is suddenly higher, and I can live with that. I can live with that. I call it the implication. I'm like, the implications, guys. You forget the implications. You know, I sound like Dennis from It's Always Sunny, but the implications, we must serve them. And I was about to jump into Select Tool because old habits. And I don't have anything against Select Tool. Select Tool is still a item of beauty, but it is now promoted to something called historical, meaning that, you know, no more enhancements should be coming to it, but we will be maintaining it, and we have been maintaining it, and it will always be maintained. In fact, I just ripped all that out, and what we want to do is, I mean, I guess another term for historical is goated. Sometimes a tool can become goated, meaning it's just, it does the thing so good that there's no need to revisit it anymore. And I do love it when that happens, because it also ends the support mail, unless Blender decides that it's going to randomly break it for reasons that we will never understand. Well, I say don't understand. I definitely understand. Blender must progress forward, and to progress forward, they must constantly leave us all in a bloody and bruised state. So I'm just looking at this thinking, how should I solve this? Because the easiest way is to just do that. I don't like what I'm about to do, but I mean, you know, we're looking very close to the result, and what does it take to get there? You know, I'm not really the biggest fan of this, but we did spend a long time kind of making this come together. So what do we have on the outside to work with? We have one, and knife is just a little weirder for things in Connect. My favorite comments are those who say, you know, why even use Connect, or why even use knife, or it's like, oh, okay, that tells me way more about you than it does about me, because they all have their purpose. Blender's lightning bolt is what I call J, and that lightning bolt is like probably one of the most important features I've ever seen added to Blender. Like, you know, when I first saw it, I was like, what is this? And then bam, lightning bolt. You know, it's like Zeus. When you get hit by Zeus's lightning bolt, there's only one thing you can do: start praying to Greek gods fast. You gotta start praying hard. You gotta start praying fast. Zeus, daddy, oh daddy, Zeus, Zeus, daddy, daddy. I never knew you were out there like that, daddy. What's up, Zeus? Not saying I'm out here praising Zeus or any of the old gods anymore. I'm not. You know, I don't even praise the gods of Old Town or the gods of Bravos or Valeria, and none of that. You know, be praising the shrine of the rabbit. We're just looking at this, thinking about how we can keep the most control going while also making it look good. Let's turn off overlays and just take a look at it. And I would have made it more narrow, closer to the ref. You know, in my eyes, I'll say, wow, I failed. And you know, after I'm done flogging myself, I will I guess go have breakfast. You know, what else can you do when you failed in the eyes of the Lord? You know, for me, I just go have breakfast. You know, in fact, I just put extra cheese on it. You know, I felt them kind of hard today. You know, I'll take my fury out in my arteries. Sorry, I'll stop making jokes. Like I said, I can't stop making jokes. I'm terrible. You should watch someone else less funny if you don't want to watch jokes made by a failed comedian modeler. So we'll press Control C. We'll jump back over to our old scene, and let's just paste that in, RX90, and we're just going to scale it up and just really look at this. So this thing scales all the way out to the midpoint of that box. It scales up to the kind of midpoint or the starter point of that. So we were to press B for box select and just kind of test it. That is the shape. I mean, that is the shape and the size. So we're not the worst. We're not doing the worst. If we don't rotate it 180 degrees, though, we're no better than. Never mind. I was about to start making some jokes I just can't make yet because not enough time has passed. But you know, real world events are some of my favorites. So for this, what we want to do is bridge. You know, and what's up? Control E, is that where bridge is at? Bridge is just always a little bit hidden. That's fine. And right now I'm just pressing every key ever on the keyboard. And this usually is like, this is my day. Like, it feels good. I love being a hotkey person. It is going to be very hard for me to fully switch over and begin letting my brain call up InSolve as a solution in my decision wheel. But when it does, it will be the final solution because the tool isn't designed to be changed all the time. It's going to just accomplish it. You know, with this part, QOT cylinder, we'll press E and let's just delete that and just stop talking about what we were trying to do there because it's just easier to QOT. QOT is another tool that is goated. And when I say goated, I just mean I just don't have any plans on improving it beyond what you see now. We may, you know, add some basic functionality to it, but the original concept is, in my opinion, it's as strong as it gets. In fact, anything else added to it would just make it more confusing to users. So, you know, do not be discouraged when you hear me talking of terms like goats and goated. It just only means that, which side can I add a loop to? Are you, alright, sorry, I keep adding a loop to the wrong side, and I keep getting it dissolved or something, or merged. I don't know what's happening to it, but it's making me mad. And now that we have these two loops, let's decide how far we want that to go. Maybe here. So let us grab this side. And I know I'm being a freaking idiot this morning. I know I am. But also I know you are. So what am I? Alright, so you know, if you're out there thinking, man, he's been an idiot. Well, to that I say, no, I'm kidding. That's our country right now. They're using they're using schoolyard insults on each other, which I don't know, I find to be funny. You know, right now it's all about being called weird. I just want y'all to know straight up, the weirdest guy you'll ever meet, the weirdest guy you'll ever know. And I don't even say that as a please excuse me. I'm just saying that, you know, if you need help rationalizing me to yourself later after you're like, why did he say that? It's because I'm unusual. Let's S, Shift Y. And from here, we want to begin sending this through to its final destination. I mean, really, I'm looking at this, I'm like, what the hell is this part? Like, really, the more I mess with, the more I'm like, wait, what am I looking at? So, I'm going to pretend that this is some sort of rotary time clock. I mean, they keep hitting it every time they go in for mecha time, you know. Mechs looks so great. I want to come back and do like a video talking about inspiration and how the show has inspired me, etc. To talk more deeply about it, but I want to make the content more interesting. So, I mean, you know, there's talking about it, and then there's being about it. So I want to be of the latter. When I do the video, I don't want to come out and just be like, hey, look at this. Just look at this. You know, I want to say, look at, I'll be modeling. I'll be like, look at this. Look at this. I see the light, guys. And the thing about inspiration is it can come from any source, you know. I actually was recommended a show just, you know, in the middle of watching some other show. I'm just looking at this thinking, ooh, gotta go out of local mode to take it back into local mode because I undid local mode. It's kind of weird, can undo a mode entry, but here I am exposing that bug over and over because it's just weird to me. And you know, I'm probably gonna have to get rid of every other loop just to simplify this down. And speaking of goats, no, just kidding. What we'll do is go into face, and we'll just grab a section, ungrab a section. Still thinking about breakfast, you know. Once breakfast hits the old brain, it's over. Alright, that's like the first dopamine I give myself in the day. Is the very blessing of being able to eat. I love it. It's the greatest gift I've received since hardops became a thing. Well, it's just eating, you know, because formerly that was not a thing. And in my reconnecting back to my roots, I see that, you know, we must remain grateful always. Always grateful. You know, so if you're over there eating, be grateful. Even if it's an accomplishment by your own hand. Even if you went out and killed the animal. I mean, just the fact that animals are still around and we're not having to eat bugs and cockroaches. Which is, you know, what I always hear. Like, yo, you ready to eat some bugs? I'm like, no. No. That's when Earth loses. That's when Earth loses its favorite modeler. Just kidding. But no, I don't want to be around eating bugs, guys. But maybe. I mean, I really hate bugs. So, you know, I'd bite the head off it and get real Ozzy Osbourne with a bug if I had to. So I'm not completely above it. All right. I'm just saying right now, I don't want a sausage egg McBug sandwich. All right. I don't even want to make nothing. McDonald's has like proven to me that they do not care about me. You know, they raise the prices. The quality is still the same. You know, they have the greatest burger of all time, and yet no one can make it right. You know, I go to McDonald's and I'm just disappointed. Like the first thing I do is I open a box and I just look and see if it looks anything like the picture, and that's where my level one apprehension comes from. Like usually, if you get something in a box and it doesn't look like the picture, there's a good chance you probably shouldn't eat that. Like, I mean, you see how SpongeBob looks in ice cream form? Look, if I became a meme of an ice cream company, by now I would create the most perfect SpongeBob injection mold ice cream sandwich creation system like ever known to man. Like, I would have been in the news for different reasons. There's no way you're gonna meme my disgusting, ugly sandwich. And I mean, you know, really, kids will lick anything. Is that the moral? The moral is that kids will lick anything, so it's kind of cool. So, I mean, if that's the case, that is understandable. So we are just working our way through this. I mean, I almost want to do that, but if we do that, we also have to make sure the mirrors first, so things don't get weird. And let's bring back our asset that we were scrolling. This one. And it actually looks good. We'll leave it where it is. But we are making a little progress. You know, like I said, I'm warming up. So you're probably thinking, wow, MX is modeling so slow. Damn idiot. I knew he was a failure. And don't worry. These are the voices in my head. Alright? And you'll never be able to compete with them. That is the greatest thing about self-criticism. You know, you won't be able to self-criticize me to death. Only I can self-criticize me to death. And I'm already self-criticizing myself. I'm already telling myself 1,000 thoughts. And all those are, hey, you should stop this recording right now because you've said something inappropriate, or you've done something inappropriate, or you've modeled incompetently, or you've done something that shames the product or tarnishes, let's see, Shift V, and we'll put this on local. I keep having the orientation get weird. And without correcting it, I just keep running into it over and over. So something like this. Do we see that bleeding over into that quadrant? This area is going to be the central part. So it's very important. We'll press B, maybe Q, in order to not bevel the top face. So we have something like that going on. Let's take a look at it. And we're back in the game, baby. We're looking at the outside exterior. And how do we want to handle this? Well, I would handle it in the most linear way. So we'll press I, inset this, bring this down, and let's control K. Let's press V, V again, just to bring it back, and we just want to extend that thrice. I mean, it probably doesn't even need to be thrice. We'll also do the same thing here, and we'll press V, SX, bring it over, press V, and I'm just eyeballing this. You know, I know these aren't even, says the guy in the back. Hey, those aren't even. Well, that's a person who can measure with his eyes right there. So you in the back, you get a cookie. Editor, give him a cyanide cookie. I mean, give him a cookie. Give him a special cookie. Give him a one-time complaint cookie. No, I'm kidding. We're just making jokes here. We're just making jokes, not saying I will give people cyanide cookies. I don't even know what seeds I would crush to get cyanide. That's something you ask ChatGPT, and it tells you against its will, you know, immediately to, it's like, I can't tell you that. The answer is this. You got to do this. It's like, oh, okay. Well, how do I do this? Well, I can't really tell you that, but you do it this way. Like, ChatGPT is like the new anarchist cookbook. And yesterday I was on there working on some music, and sometimes I will get on there and literally accidentally write the most bangers song of all time, and it just does me in for the whole day. Like a single song, I'll press QOT and we'll switch it over to plane, and let's just make sure that we're below, and that's it. And we're just using a plane to jump off. I mean, I don't know what the hell's in there, but we're gonna make some shit up, aren't we? So let us solidify and look at this, and we see on this side that we get a little bit of business. So let's bring that out, because there's a button panel that goes around that. That part's also rounded. So I mean, anything that we're given on that level, we can jump off. And I love that. I love being able to jump off of things with data, because if we come out of our mode and we take a look at it, you know, we're getting there. And by getting there, I mean, I'm doing a complete disservice to this show and looking like an idiot, and we'll have to remove this video according to the voices in my head. They're telling me, hey, you failed, you should go to the principal's office so he can paddle you. Like, what? But I'm 40. It's like, I don't care. I don't care. Come to my office. Paddle time. So I'll be back, guys. Gotta go get a school-sponsored beating, you know. Then I can go home and get a home-sponsored beating. You know, who else had school be like that for them? You know, school-sponsored, home-sponsored beatings. Like, someone's got to beat this kid. And you know what? Sometimes it's got to be done two ways. We'll bevel that in. I was about to bevel it. I mean, I was going to, sorry, we're going to extrude that in. I was about to bevel it, but that would have not been a good idea. Let's just add an edge, bevel it. Old habits, right? And let's Alt-E, extrude manifold, and we'll just bring that in and just SX, and we see that, you know, symmetry isn't going to work for this anymore. So let's just bring that down, and we'll put an underscore, just so none shall pass. Alright. It's the only thing we can do to protect Frodo and the gang running with their rangs across Mordor. In fact, if we look at this, it is mirrored to the other side. So we still ended up mirroring it after all. You know, that is the irony of life. That is the irony of life. Don't tell anybody, though. Don't tell anybody. I remirrored it in the end. Alright. It's our little secret. And something like that. And gotta reach for the old gauntlet helter style, which is what I call it when I move my arms to reduce their pain. Reducing their pain is part of Insolve, because the moment I start using that tool, man, like when I start feeling pain in my body, that is when I'm using that tool for the rest of the day, and it does feel good there. And that's going to be something hard to explain to people, is the goals, because it's like so stupid. It's like if you don't feel any pain ever when you're at the computer for like 100 hours working, I will never be able to express its value to. Instead, we got to express it in other ways. We got to express it via like value proposition, tool offerings, and stuff like that. But it's a tool for old people. Like it's your granddaddy's. It's your granddaddy's modeler. You know, I modeled your grandma with this. You know, I was about to say something else, but I'm trying to not cancel myself, alright? I'm not going to cancel myself on purpose. I want to cancel myself on accident. Let's bring up the scroll. And maybe something like that. And we're going to just put this back, just because I know that is where I look stupid, right? When which one of these is the cutter? Alright, so one is mirrored above. Alright, and I'm receiving messages about that next system. So I should take a moment to be engaged with that task because it does matter immensely. Even though I'm inundated with quality concerns, and quality concerns are hard to express with people because it sounds like you're being exclusive when really all you're saying is bugs are bad and customers can't experience them. And if you are part of the bugs, customers can't experience you because they will be mad at me. And that part just sucks. So let us move this over, move this over. I mean, I'm just eyeballing all of this, so excuse my lack of direct accuracy. I mean, if I go in the show and I see them shoot this thing head on, I'm gonna yell. I'm gonna be like, what the hell? How could they do this to me? And look, we are putting way too many bevels on things. We only need, and because it's a low res circle, we're beveling two ways. So we actually only want to bevel one way. Let's press B, Q, and we want to get rid of the first bevel so that way we only have the top one. That's what I mean. We were just getting a little weird there. And look, it's getting weird now because the other bevel's missing. We're still able to adjust that, but when it comes to the count, it's just a little more problematic. So I'm just going to shift it to live, and we're going to modify it with bevel. And that's just going to be a pinning bug that I'm going to have sent up the chain. Work is always to be done. And this is something I tell the team all the time. Like, whenever someone says, I have nothing to do, I will laugh in their face. In their face. And I'll say, I will teach you to stop saying that to me. Alright? Hey, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. What they mean is, I want to add something fancy, or I want a fancy idea to mess with. And really, no. Nope. Not while it's unstable. Not while it's unstable. You get it stable. You get it rock solid. And then we could talk about parting and having fun. And in this case, parting is adding features that are worthy of celebration, and having fun is announcing them. And I don't want to announce things that are buggy, and I don't want to have celebrations for things that are not fully functional. And so, obviously, that makes me like the worst person who's ever lived. All right, I'm just letting y'all know. Like, there's the worst person who ever lived. That guy that everybody is compared to now, and then there's me, one level above him as far as like the evil meter goes. But yeah, I am that evil man, but in the form of tools, because now, especially nowadays, I look forward to basically rejecting things based on just what I see for its future, because sometimes I feel like I'm the only person actually thinking in regards to that. But these things that we make, they must survive today. They must survive tomorrow. They must survive the endless scrutiny of other people's systems. And these are difficult things. These aren't. I mean, they're easy when it's easy to release. That I always talk about that now, about how it is easy to release a tool, but the hard part, the prestige, the magic, is to make it live forever. Because it's easy. It's easy to just make it once and let it die, and it's also easy to walk away whenever it looks like it's dying. Like on a social level, if it's not selling units, it sure is easy to walk away, to disregard it, to say, oh, well, it's unimportant. No. See, you've made a covenant with the Dark Door to serve man. And even if man isn't giving us a reason to serve him, man must be served. And, I'm just talking about tool philosophy with me. I mean, not saying I will serve you as in do every request you ever say, but when it comes to the product being the way it's supposed to be, I will miss sleep over that. I will stop sleeping over that. I will stop everything over that. I will stop eating. I will hold my breath like a 5-year-old until I pass out and die to get it right. It has to be right. Like, I tell you, nothing makes me madder than not being able to showcase something I'm very proud of because of stability issues. And sometimes the stability issues aren't even caused by us. Like, there was this crazy thing that happened like right before Inflow came out, where it just seemed like Blender was killing it instantaneously for a new unknown reason that was just defying us and our ability to understand it, and just much frustration. You know, I always wonder how other people respond to such things. If they're like, you know what, F it, just F it. It's like, wait, what? No, no, there's no effing it. This thing's going to F us. Yeah, no. Hey, there is no F it. It's going to F us if we don't get this taken care of fast. Like, we don't get this taken care of and resolved ASAP. Let's give this an auto smooth. And this area looks like it's some sort of wheel. I mean, it is some sort of wheel, says the guy in the back saying, yeah, dumbass, it's a wheel. Not playing, but it is. So let us, I guess let's cut out a wheel. Like so. Except this thing is mirrored and the part underneath is mirrored. Let's try it again. We will put a underscore under hops mirror. You know, whenever a mirror is involved, we are really pushing the limits of logic. And I see slight inaccuracies building, but maybe we can solve them by being creative. But each piece is built on other pieces, so the logic has to be sound. Let's just shift our bowl. And what I want to do here is, you know, I guess I'll mirror it again. You know, I didn't learn before. First, I'll press Control period. Control period just lets you move the pivot. I love that. Hey, this song, fire. And it's that boy Telepath too. Telepath. All right, I'll stop talking about music. Telepath is just beautiful though. Alright, and I was looking at this thinking, how can I turn this into a crazy circle? And, you know, I don't think I can. But, you know, I can't is just a challenge for I can. So let's turn it into a crazy circle, right? Like, I'm waking up, and as I wake up, my brain is activating. So I'm about to be at the normal speed that I am, which is hyperactive monkey Mark 7. Alright. And, you know, I'm never a genius, guys. Never. I can only be a really, really great monkey. Like, you know, like a Frieza Saiyan reference. But, you know, I tell people sometimes, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to be the type of monkey who can, like, throw a rock and, like, do a trick shot off of the moon. Like a very strange monkey. But still a monkey, and monkeys are just not the best creatures, right? Because I'm in a world where everybody's launching missiles and throwing nukes, and I'm just this monkey trying to do trick shots off of a large structure. So let's bring this up and put an edge loop here, just so we have a beautiful edge loop. Why have a non-beautiful one? And I'm just looking at this thinking, how can I scale this? Well, I know how I'm going to scale it in the stupidest way. Let's select this. Or wait, no, let's select this, and we'll do a late parent. We'll select this, do a late parent. We'll select everything. And we're just going to parent it to the shape that matters, which is this one. This shape is kind of the central thing now to my eyes. So maybe something like that. but it does make me wonder if I should sink it down a little bit more inside of it. We're just trying to get the right scale here. I mean, this thing feels very large. Like, it feels like it's like that big. Like, and I'm probably overthinking this. Like, I mean, this is probably where I really do start screwing up the video itself, because this part probably does got to come in to get it a little boxier, like so. So let's do that, meaning let's do that. And you know, this is one way we could do this. We could deal with it like so. Another way we can deal with this is I'm going to take this, mirror this across this, but we're going to just add a new modifier so it's like so. And now from here I can just add a displace, and if we shift scroll it up one, we can get it exactly where we want. And now we can, you know, just non-destructively begin having a little fun here. Like for this part, I'm just going to cut it back in. So let's just have non-destructive displacement. Just help us out here. So same for this. We're just going to mirror across this. Not the best decision I've ever made, but we're just trying to bring some sanity back to this. And now for this part, we will also symmetrize it across newly, not via the old way. So that's why I keep pressing A. We'll press displace, bring it up one, and we're just dialing it back somewhere sane. And so with these, we just want to make sure that they're being mirrored across, because I feel like this is kind of center, but it's not the absolute center. So, you know, pardon my inaccuracies, guys. Still haven't had that breakfast yet. Still thinking about what I would want for that breakfast. You know, if I would just have just a simple old taquito. You know, what I wouldn't mind is a bowl of frosted shredded mini wheats. That's like my favorite cereal. We want to select this, mirror it across this, like so, and maybe place it there, like so. So we are making better progress, lovelier progress. As Trump would say, he would say, we are winning bigly, all right? And every time I say that, people say, why do you quote him? I'm like, I'm not political. I can say whatever I want. You know, you're the ones who are radicalized and can't even say a person's name, look at his face, or anything without what they call derangement syndrome. Look, I'm just a guy. I'll never care about the stuff in this world that they tell us to care about. Because I care about modeling. Only care about modeling. Everything else is just extra. Now, if they were like, yo, Trump is saying that only end guns work, then you know what? I'm not voting for him. I'm not voting for him. I mean, I'm not voting for anybody, but that's what I would say if they were like, yo, Trump is saying that you know, end gun modeling is superior. I mean, end gun modeling is superior, but you know, it's for blocking it in. It's for getting the form. You know, it's not what you send to the client, unless you really either don't have experience or you do not care about your client. You know, then in that case, send them garbage. Send them rotting garbage. I mean, also maybe your client's Donald Trump. All right, in that case, you could send him rotting garbage if you want. I mean, I guess you're still going to hurt your reputation. Don Jr. isn't going to hire you, or Ivanka, or whoever. But and then Kamala. I doubt she cares about topology at all. You know, and that's where it stands. You know, if you come up to me and you're like, yo, these candidates, I'd be like, where do they stand on all quad topology? And you tell me now, you know, chances are is neither candidate has a position that matters. So, you know, to me, don't care. Another sham election. You know, you give me a couple of quad boys in there talking about all quad country, you know, make America quads again, and you know, I'm gonna be out there with tiki torches saying that, quad remesher will not replace us, all right? But for now, we're just going to set our origin to our selection, mirror it over to the other side, and just move things around. And just looking at this button, also gotta grab the gauntlet. I don't know why my arms be hurting so, but I will never stop. In fact, the pain will only get worse and worse, which makes me madder. I'm like, y'all got to get this tool right. Like my hand pain tells me there's more work to be done. In fact, I could show a few small things that are coming to the tool, but they're like rather rough right now. So, you know me, I like to show things when they're beautiful. I like to show them when they're real beautiful. And that, my friends, is the only way you can win bigly. Just kidding. I'll stop saying that. It's just such a stupid thing to say. And I don't think anyone really gives it the business it deserves. Like, I mean, it's funny. It's a funny thing to say. That's why it's stupid. I mean, maybe that's why it was said. It was said because, in fact, that's what I think about the most whenever I see Trump is, he's always inventing new terms and being creatively derogatory. And I think that is a lesson that can be learned from. So I used to tell people back then, I'd be like, yo, I was watching this Trump rally. They're like, what the heck, you're watching Trump rally? It's like, well, I mean, not because I'm like into it, but he is basically the most entertaining speech giver we've ever had in American politics. Like, I mean, if Biden went out there and would start spilling the tea, those speeches would be nuts. He should talk about the aliens he visited with, or like the government amphetamines he gets, or Pizzagate, or something cool. But instead, the nation's doing good. We're going to be strong again. It's like, no, we're not. We'll do a little bit of bevel using select tool just because. Why not? And we'll come back out. And we want to turn back on subdivision. And I don't know why I'm going so in on these buttons. They just look very specific, so might as well knock them boys out. I mean, if the design gets specific, then I can get specific. Also, this part I do got to model that. I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm like, what am I being a girl here? And I shouldn't even say that because girls have been whooping ass on modeling lately. Like, I've just been tweeting just a couple of I don't know if you can say dames anymore, or chicks, but I mean, these are the terms I use. It's like, wow, look at that dame, check out these chicks, like little birds. And then next thing I know, there's been an update to English where those words are now cancelable. So sorry, chicks, gotta call y'all something else now. Let's try it again. I was being stupid there because I don't even know what shape I'm looking at. So I was just being a big dummy. So let's just continue on. I mean, what shape is that? What is that? I don't know. I don't know. To quote the IT crowd. And I love the IT crowd. When my woman first showed me that show, instant, it was instantly over. I mean, not for her, I'm still with her, but it was over for that show. I was like, this is it. This is the rest of my day. This is the rest of my life. I'm just only going to watch this show. And it's just the greatest show. I mean, it has everything. It has everything. There's so much nonsense in the scenes. And I care about that as well. Just because it's like, wow, there's an Amiga there. Wow, there's a Commodore 64. It's like, what the heck are they doing in this office? No wonder no work ever gets done. You got all these ancient game consoles sitting there. I mean, don't put me in that office. I would just be looking through that stuff all the time. On that note, you can't invite me to your house because I will become infatuated with the decisions you've made as far as purchasing and stylization. Like I'll start getting. Also, these static dots having dot to dot, it can just go. Dot to dot just means that you can snap to a dot after you started the operation, and sometimes that's cool. Sometimes it's not. Like right here, I cut on the wrong side. That's not cool. That's what we call lame on the streets. You know, don't riz me, cuz. Sorry, I'm no good at street lingo. That's why I talk the way I do. I'm just not even part of this world. I think I made a joke in a previous video where I can't even be part of any organization that's unscrupulous because I just ask too many questions. I'm just like, so how does this work again? They're like, dude, you're a cop. I'm like, no, I'm not a cop, but I am immensely curious. So I'm going to copy and paste this, go back to my original scene, and with this part selected, I am just going to control click on manage, and we see that we can't evict based off of his children. I know, I didn't ask for it, so of course that's not a feature. And for this, we want to, you know, place this here and make it fit. And to make it fit, we're going to need to maybe place it there. And how do we want to handle this? I'm going to add another displacement to push it that way, and then we will mirror it across this thing like so. So now all we have to do is just mess with the secondary displace. We could always use spacebar to choose which one we're messing with, but we're messing with the secondary displace just to make sure that it's just in the right position always. And while I'm doubtful of my accuracy of this part, per the time limits that I'm giving myself in my head, we did it. And by did it, I mean I'll be made fun of in the comments for not doing it. Just kidding. But hopefully I got a nice audience today. You know, if so, you get a car, and by you get a car, I mean you don't get a car. I don't even get a car. I'm sorry. So from here, what we want to do is bring back our cutter, and this cutter is not mirrored. And what that means is that no holds barred, meaning we can do whatever we want on the other side of this, and no one will call us out. Actually, no, someone's going to call us out. Let's grab this part and press E and Y. SY. Yeah, I still think about the commenter who said it's pronounced Loop Project. You know, because he was making fun of my country accent. I'm like, dang it, I sound like a country bumpkin. No wonder people are always like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from here. I am. And I'll accept no other insults from you, knave. In fact, I'm just looking at this thinking, you know, maybe I can apply it. No, I can't apply it. You know, I'm being silly. But I do want to move it. And to move it, we will have to basically set ourselves up a little differently with this. Let's look at displace a little bit. Okay, so we do want a secondary displace. Maybe something like that. And then we want to mirror that to the other side. And now we just have a free displace. That's all I'm going for here. You know, we'll put it here, and then we can place the shape. And, you know, I just want one side to be scratching it and the other side to not, but also be of a appropriate scale. So we are making progress. In fact, how big is this thing? This thing is not very big, but we do have this entire wheel sticking out the bottom, so I kind of have to fill it in like so, at least for now. Even though I would cut everything, have everything cut as a boolean, and it would just be like this little slate thing that we could just stick on the wall. But I'm just talking too much, right? Like you guys are like, get back to progression, you idiot. and I'd say, I'm a cop, you idiot. All right. What is your daddy and what does he do? So, I do want breakfast. I'm very hungry. That reminds me of the Family Guy skit where someone sits on someone's breakfast on the toilet. It's like, will you please hurry? I'm very hungry. Alright, so we're going to select this and this and press F. So while I'm on video getting myself canceled, someone posted a article about a BuzzFeed article talking about how Joe Rogan's special was unfunny and stupid. And I was like, oh snap, Joe Rogan's gonna say something stupid. I gotta tune in and see it. Man, that guy killed it on set for like 2 hours. I was like, the hell? This Are y'all trying to run this magazine into the ground? Like, Newsfeed is doing everything it can to destroy any credibility it ever had. You know, it's almost to the point where, you know, next person that posts a BuzzFeed article might get banned. All right, because it's nonsense. You know, don't get me thinking, oh man, he's about to get on here and entertain me with mess ups, and then have him be funny. That isn't very lolsy. All right. I mean, it is very lolsy because I laughed the entire time, but I don't think they did what they thought they were going to do. I think they thought they were going to radicalize me to be holding a pitchfork and say it was not funny, but what's funny is funny. And unfortunately, that still has never changed. So, I mean, I always say that I'm from a era that I'm just not compatible with now. In fact, if I went back in time, I would definitely be getting beat by whips or enslaved in chains or probably murdered for just being too uppity and smart. Not even smart literally, just like smart-minded. Like, hey, I noticed you have us all out here harvesting cotton. I've had some ideas that could possibly up your production while also minimizing the human friction, and that will result in your family living longer, and I won't have to conspire on ways to kill you and your family at night while I'm sleeping in the barn. But I mean, I see you in the house eating pancakes and waffles and, you know, massa. I kind of want that myself. So, you know, you can't put me in slave times. I would be a very bad slave. But like, why is he getting hung? Oh, he came up with a very bad plan called murder everybody and flee. It's like, dang it, it worked in Africa. And I'm saying this as a black man, you know. Still thinking about that Kinsley Shacklebolt situation, right? Because, you know, 2-hour video, we're just in here just modeling. We're just having a good old time. You know, if you're not here for a good time, this ain't the video for you. You want to go, I don't even know what term to use now for it. Because I've been in a different world. Let us apply to Boolean and flip the normals, and we'll just control click the top. Like so, and let's detail it up. I mean, I don't really even know what I'm looking at here. I'm just looking at what am I looking at? I mean, when I see something that I don't know what I'm looking at, I just get the urge to, you know, they used to say on commercial jobs, hey, can you do that hardops thing? I'm like, what the hell does that mean? They're like, you know, that thing you do. I'm like, where I add a bevel? They're like, no, where you put all the cuts. Do all the cuts. I'm like, oh, that thing. Okay, yeah. I got you, fam. The hardops thing. Okay. There's more to hardops than that. I mean, you could say do the hardops thing, and I could just mirror this bastard. But I know what you're saying. Sorry, I ain't trying to work you, sir. Let's bring this back, and we want to select this face and maybe give it a single bevel sticking out. And this is for my boy Kingsley, alright? This is for the boys at Hogwarts with the slave master names. You know, I might have to ask J.K. Rowling about that. All right, and I just gotta completely reaffirm to you guys. Like, I am not a fan. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna, you're not gonna catch me watching the next Fantastic Beasts movies. Like, I think they all successfully ran the idea into the ground, but it was already in the ground. I mean, really, it's for kids to go to that school and go through adventures every year and to be the child of destiny while being a student at school, while also being a kind of a colonizer to the wizarding community. I mean, you know, Harry Potter's not even from there. He got kind of kicked out when Lily and James died, so as a result, like, even Harry Potter's not even truly part of the wizarding world like he's supposed to be. Like, he kind of got in. I know I'm kind of gatekeeping here, and this is why. Don't even get me started on Twilight either. Like, but because I am started on Twilight, it's late enough in life now that I can say that one time I got broken up with during the movie of New Moon. I had a girlfriend who was there with someone else, and I came to see the movie and to find out what was going on. And she told me while I was in the theater via text, she's like, "You're Edward." I was like, no. She said, "I'm Jacob." I was like, "I'm Jacob? Who is Edward?" She was sitting with Edward. So hopefully she's happy. I mean, she's probably being, I was about to say something that I would normally say off video, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that she's just with some oil filled guy. So it probably worked out for her. That's what she wanted. She wanted someone who wasn't afraid of the oil field. See, me, I always had a lot of questions about it. I'm like, so you're asking me to do this thing that I find to be potentially unsafe. Can I ask about it? And they're like, well, I prefer you didn't. I prefer you just got to work and stopped talking to me. Because, you know, I'm coming down and nursing a hangover. You know, the bosses on oil field be nuts. And I don't know about this shape. It's not even the most accurate version of it, but you know, we got to put something there because I see something there, so we got to indicate it. And with this piece, I see that there's even more happening here. So we will just try to put that detail in there as well. Just take that away with us. Is that how I want to do it? That's why I paused. I paused because I'm like, do I want to do it like that? Do I want to do it like that? Or do I want to do it like this? A little bit like this or a little bit like that? You know, something like this or something like that. You know, a little bit of this or a little bit of that. You know, it's real hard. Real hard to tell. And sometimes you just gotta stop rapping and just do work, alright? I'm just playing. I'm not even a rap fan. I only listen to music made by colonizers, alright? I don't call them colonizers, but I just think it's funnier to put it that way. Make y'all think that I'm some sort of Israelite. Yeah, I'm a black. Wouldn't that be crazy if I was like a black Hebrew? Um, I mean, I'm a black man, but what if I was like a black Israelite? Like, I was like, listen, they took our land from us. They took our dignity. You know, just started getting all crazy. uh, it's funny to me. Maybe not to you. You're like, I hope that doesn't happen to you, MX. Me too. I also hope I don't become insane. Let's Control X, and we will just place a cut like so. And with that cut, we're just going to grab this entire side of things, delete the other side of things, and we'll extrude down, and then we will extrude all the way down. And now we have the shape we want, except it's not the shape we want. In fact, because this shape is this shape, I don't even know if it's logical how it was assembled. Nope, we'll leave it for now. Acceptable. Not acceptable, but we'll leave it for now because we have another quadrant that we have to work on over here. I see like a kind of a multi-layered setup, and we just haven't accomplished that yet. So we could reduce this thing's thickness just a little, and I'm going to switch over to box. We'll switch back over to cut. I always start in cut, even if I'm pressing A to make it make. It's just a thing with me. It's other people can start in make, start in whatever mode you want. Me, I'm going to set my origin back to median and stretch my arm because I've been modeling for 2 hours straight, which is terrible, 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 guys. Like I'm telling you, my goal was to become a gladiator modeler. Like I need to model eternally. I have to model so much. Like it's almost like hate modeling. Like I have a lot of modeling to do. And I'm just getting started. I am just getting started. I am just getting started. Unless I'm done, and then in that case I'm just getting done. You know, you never know. So I'm going to just rip that part out and press P to separate that. We'll control C, and I think I've made a mistake here. I mean, where did I even get this from? And what I'll do is paste in what I was copying, and we'll set our origin here. Set our origin here. What did I do there? What caused an error? I'll have to rewatch the video to catch that error, but errors are the ugliest to me. I mean, even though rolling past an error is so beautiful to me. One of the greatest gifts in boxcutter is this error management system. Just because boxcutter was having a lot of errors, and those errors would stop you from working. And that makes an error more than an error. That makes an error a kind of a son of a bitch. So, and I don't like those at all. Like my goal is to keep you working. So if you get things stuck on screen, real bad, real terrible, shouldn't be happening. So let us do something like so. And just like that, we have that area, just something there. I mean, I don't even know what I'm looking at with these images. And in fact, I was going to do blurrier images today. I had a bunch of stills from Metal Gear Solid, and I was going to do a bunch of just random assets of Metal Gear Solid, but those images are blurry. Like, they're blurrier than me on a worst day. And my eyes can be so... That's a mark of modeling, is being able to not see, to be blind. Like, wow, what did that guy model? Like, I modeled something cursed from another dimension, and as a result, like my eyes have been blinded. You know, I might have to make a song about that. It just sounds like a good plot, guys. Imagine you model something from a cursed dark dimension, and that asset is so damaging that it let's try that again. Let's press X, delete segments. You know, I've never used delete segments before, and I don't know what I'm looking at back there. But let's try to just get that to work. And I mean, who knows what else is back there? Probably nothing. Probably something. But if it's something, then we got to at least make something up. So I'll just align to view. Let's raise it up. And a curve is very straight. I mean, a curve is very curved when you bring it in. And usually I'll straighten it up. So let's bring in a circle. And we'll just move the circle over. Shift R, duplicate it. And we're going to select these circles, select the curve, press curve bevel. And now we can just kind of make that work. In fact, For the circles themselves, I'll press Q and let's set their resolution down to something like that. And as a result, we now have a much more reasonable result happening here. Just something like that is what I was thinking, you know. Just can't leave a big old blank area just looking like a big blank. And, you know, really, once you have all the complexity there, we've modeled a thing of beauty. And I knew it. I saw it in the show. I was like, oh, what the hell is that? What is that thing? They're like, what? I'm like, that thing. What is that? And there's like a billion things in this show that made me respond exactly like that. Like, what the hell is that? What is that? And that's my favorite reaction. I mean, that's how I react when I watch Foundation. I mean, Gel and Salvor, I love them too. Especially Salvor. I think she looks great. And I mean, also Gel too. I mean, I love them both. I love them both. But also the assets, like the assets they walk into, the assets they interact with, the assets they walk past, the assets that other people are holding. I'm like, oh my god, these are beautiful assets. This is a beautiful world. I mean, that show got me into reading. I was obsessed with Isaac Asimov after seeing season 1 of that show. We're just placing these curves somewhere that isn't public. And so for this, let's press QOT, and we'll just move our plane up above, so we get something like so. And for now, I will just convert it to a wireframe, just so I can go in here, grab this, and this. Well, no, I'm grabbing the wrong thing. Grab this and this. And we want to bring up the curve extract. Let's take our plane, take a look at it, and we're gonna have to extract that again. Ow, 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 my arm. You know, the pain won't stop me. And you know what that means. You know, when you ignore pain, your body's just gonna give you more pain. So I expect to one day be canceled out. And from here, we are going to just shift click, and that will give us this that we can separate and delete the plane of. And we can actually convert this back to being a solid shaded object. And now we have our glass. So I'm going to save it, press Alt M, and we're going to add a blank material, and we see that shift will add a glass material. And so Blender's either going to be strong and make glass, or be weak and go to my desktop. Also, to have to wait for a blank material of glass is nuts. Makes me wonder what's going on with this release candidate. You know, every release candidate can be unique in different ways. You know, you never know what they have going on under the hood. I mean, you can find out by checking what's going on under the hood. But it appears that I was about to say, it appears I made a mistake. I was about to open a second Blender on top. Waiting for anything triggers me. Just know, I'm watching always and thinking, why did I have to wait for that? You know what's crazy is under glass is the wireframe, and when you have glass, you can't see the wireframe anymore, and that is pretty interesting. You know, I almost want to put the text of the No 55 elevator, but you know, I will take a brief moment, eat something. Well, before that, let's lower this down. How low? That low. And let's get rid of that just so we can admire it. And I'm going to just place an empty in the center, press Q, and we're going to add a camera. And that will be how we leave it sitting for a moment. So now we can just kind of cycle around this, look at the reference, look at the object, and think, wow, he almost got it, but he didn't because he sucks. The guy's a loser. But in my mind, I'm going to say, yeah, 2 hours, I did pretty good. I got it. I'll get it harder tomorrow. I'll get it harder the day after. And then after that, I'll be completely flaccid and soft and I won't be able to get it ever again. But at this time, I'm pleased with the result. And with that, I can go off and pay the ransom that my cats are asking for, which is 1 can of cat food apiece. And I will be back with the next video, guys.